How y'all doing? And welcome. And I'm glad y'all tuned in to another DJ Popcorn podcast show, man. Today, I have a special guest with me today, man. None other than Joseph Teel with the Joe Teel podcast, man. What's up, man?
What's up? You good?
What's up, man?
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to be here, dude.
Oh, man, I'm glad you came here, man. Oh, man. So, man, what you been up to lately, man?
Oh, man. So everything I got going on has been shook up lately.
Yeah, I know.
I've been going through a little adversity, but it's all right.
Yeah, we gonna get into all of that.
Yeah, man.
So,
yeah.
So, man, so where are you from? Like, are you?
I'm from here. I'm from Liberty Island.
Okay.
I've been in Liberty Island my whole life.
Okay, cool. And so, I know you do the podcasting and stuff, but I want to get a little background, like, what got you into where did you start from? Like, what was your start on getting into stuff like this?
All right, so we got to go back. We got to go back to like 2000 and probably 9.
Yeah.
When I was at Liberty Island, and that's when I first started experimenting, like making my own kind of music, right?
Right.
And so I was making my own songs, and I won a couple poetry slams at Liberty Island, and realized that I could write music, right?
Oh.
And then I really dived into it after I got out of high school, and I really just had kind of got tired of the studio experience, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, one day I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
And so that started the birth of what I call 180 Recording Studios, which, I don't even know what's left of that at this point, just through everything I've been through. But that was the original studio I built. And it was in my house. It's where I live. So I turned half of my house into a recording studio. And there was already like an existing studio vibe here in town. Like, so everybody kind of had their idea of what you get when you go to the studio. And so I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if I made my own little deal and kind of hopped in and just see what would happen? And nobody around here can deny that when I got in and I really got rolling, that I made an impact on like what the studio scene was like. Nobody could deny that.
Yeah.
But not to brag about it, but I entered with like a different type of mindset, I think. And so I built my first studio, charging like $15 an hour, practically nothing. But this was 2015, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so in 2015, I built my own studio, started dealing with a bunch of rappers, started dealing with, and buying equipment, and basically just went in a lot of debt. I went in a lot of debt to build a studio, and I still worked for our family business, and then every evening I was recording. I would just record. And it just, I realized, okay, I'm good at this, and I listened to a lot of music, and I think a good engineer just needs to know how to make the random person sound like what you hear on the radio.
Yeah.
So as I kind of dialed that in, and then what I realized was is that people were kind of wanting more customer service in the studio business. And let me look at the camera when I say this. Nothing against anybody here in town. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there was a style here in town, and there's nothing against that.
Right.
I do really feel like I just kind of approached it a little differently, where it was like, hey, I'm not just the dude touching the buttons. It was like I started kind of building relationships with my clients, and they liked that. And I would ask them things like, do you like how this sounds? What can we do differently? Or how was your experience here? Or, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of engaging with the artist coming. And I feel like that really did a lot for me. And so people felt like, okay, Joe's kind of for the people. And so that's kind of where I found my footing in the studio lane, was where people started to feel like, okay, Joe's for the people. And that's what took it off. So I did that for like 7 years. And, anybody you think of in town, besides the newer people, because I stopped in 2022, but any rapper you can think of between 2015 and 2022, I more than likely recorded them. And it was cool. I enjoyed it. And it wore me down a little bit after a while, and that's what kind of made me pivot into the podcast world, where and what's funny is, not to just rant on it, but
go ahead.
in 2022 when I quit, I originally did 6 interviews where I interviewed rappers.
Oh.
And so in 2022, I could have been a podcaster.
Yeah.
I did 6 of them. Dang. But it was at a time where I was kind of burned out.
Yeah.
And so I gave out. And so then I gave up my lease where I was at. I had a building, went back to what I was doing, and I really started leaning into other things in life. And after 7 years of like doing studio audio, I just took a break. And then for another 2 years, I just didn't do anything until 2024. I decided, hey, I had a couple podcasts that I really liked, and I was listening to them, and I was like, dude, I could do that.
Yeah.
There's no reason why I can't have my own podcast. I know how to do audio. I just had to figure out video. And if you know me, you know I trade with people. I'm going to trade. I just traded with people until they taught me how to do it.
Yeah.
And once I figured out how to do it, I'm like, I can make every episode myself.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's kind of that is the quick way to get to where I'm at now.
What? So you said you had got burned out. So, because I know what that's like, creating content and also doing the music and stuff. What happened to where you had got burned out? I mean, what was going on with it, man? So,
well, buckle up. Here we go. Here we go. Look, man. The studio world's a wild world, right?
Yeah.
Everybody you deal with is a musician or artist in some way, shape, or form. And everybody that does music, there's something a little bit different about them. That's why they're able to do music. And even me, I've been able to do music, and I realize that there's a strangeness to me. Like it's if you're gonna, it's almost like being able to speak in a different language. So like I can speak in music, but the effect it has on us is I feel like it kind of makes you a little crazy, kind of makes you a little wild, because you're seeing the world in a different lens than most people are seeing. And that's why I think the common person enjoys music so much, because they're like, they don't really know how to feel about the world, and then they go listen to a song, and they're like, oh, this artist is explaining the world to them. And so that's kind of how they get their feeling. A lot of like the stuff they do, they might not even understand. They're like, oh, I get this from, that's why people connect with musicians and artists so much. Because like, this is the person that can paint that picture that I'm feeling, but I don't know how to express it. Yeah. And so the problem is when you do it for a living, you deal with a musician or an artist every single day. And your life starts to count on your kids, and your well-being starts to depend on these people that color outside of the lines. That's what they do. That's why they're so great. Yeah. You need them to be like good business people, when what makes them great is that they, like, almost by definition, color outside of the lines. And so what that does to you as the person recording them is you start running into situations where it's like, dude, this dude is so awesome. This dude is so good at recording. This dude makes awesome music. I love what he's saying. I love the vibe. Nobody could do like this. But then they're like, not a good business person. And so what you run into is like, that happens over and over and over again. This might be the best rapper alive, but he will never be on time. He will always be 30 minutes late. Or he might no show you, no text. And it's or no call, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, okay, at a point, you start elevating yourself. I start reading these business books, and I start learning how to do like better business, because I'm elevating myself. And it's like, I can't get these musicians to be on the same page as me. Dang. And after a while, it really started wearing me down. And it'd be like, okay, I'd book, at this point, you're charging like $50 an hour. And this was before inflation, so that was like banging, you know what I mean? Yeah. But if 7 people book you for $50 an hour, you think, oh yeah, I'm about to have a day. Yeah. And then 6 of them cancel without texting you. You start thinking like, okay, I need to do something different, because I can't count on you to feed my babies. Yeah. And so it started to get like this. And there's lots of aspects to recording music that people don't think about. I tell people this all the time. Recording people is like having a song on a loop. Do you know that they do that for like torture? Dang. So like, no, like for real, like other countries, if they capture an enemy combatant, when they're torturing them, they'll put them in a room and play the same song over and over and over again. There's a reason for that. It's not good for your head. Dang. And so I would be sitting in a studio, and I think what really did me in was the punch-in era. You know how people started punching in?
Yeah.
When I first started, nobody. When I first started in 2015, nobody would dream of coming to the studio without lyrics already. But between 2015 and 2018, that completely changed. People just started showing up, and they would just book a whole bunch of hours. They were like, okay, I'm ready to record. I'm like, okay, cool. At first it was fun because it's like, what do you mean? I can just sit here and hit the space bar for 3 hours? That's too easy. But the problem was it was literally too easy. It was driving me crazy. There was nothing to do. People come in, they're on drugs, they're drunk, they're doing the rapper shit. And they can't, like, these punch-in rappers, they would get stuck. And I would be there for like 45 minutes, and we would get like one line.
Dang.
And it's like, I'm the type of dude, like I was saying in the beginning, I tried to build this business on like customer service, giving them what they want. And it's like, if you want to come in here and bullshit for 45 minutes, that wears me down, because what am I supposed to do? I'm just going to hit the space bar for 45 minutes. And like at the beginning, it felt so cool. It's like, yes, I can't believe I'm getting paid to hit the space bar. And then like 2 years into that, it started to be like, damn, I can't believe these people are giving me $50 an hour to hit the space bar. Yeah. I am so bored. Like, and that's just real. Wow. And it got to the point where I was so tired of hearing music, I would leave the studio. I would just drive home in silence. I stopped listening to like regular music. Because why? I'd heard music all day. I'm tired of this shit.
Right.
And I don't know. I couldn't get people on the same page as me. And I know these are big, long answers, but you're asking questions that I got to unpack, man.
Yeah. I know.
And these artists, like, they were literally killing each other. Like, they literally were. And like, they want to sell weed in the parking lot. They want to shoot each other. Like, this is real life stuff. And you can't make that up. And like, most people don't understand that. It's like, you say, okay, I'm going to record rap music. Okay, well, get ready for all the other shit that comes with that. Like, no bullshit, I'm recording this dude. We're here for 2 hours. I have no idea. An hour and 45 minutes in, he gets a phone call. It's like, I need to go outside. I was like, okay. I keep the door locked, so I had to get up and unlock the door. I said, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I got to play outside. I was like, I'll play? He's like, yeah. I got to, somebody's pulling up to buy something. I was like, hey, we don't do that here. Like, you can't do that. Right. He pulls up his shirt. He's wearing a hoodie. It's like in the summertime. You know how these new kids, they wearing hoodies in the summer. It don't make no sense. He pulls up his shirt and pulls out a vacuum sealed pound of weed.
Wow.
He's had it in there the whole time.
Dang.
He went through a whole recording session with a vacuum sealed pound of weed in his hoodie.
Dang.
And it's like, what are we doing? Why do you think that's okay? And the tipping point is like when, and this happened 3 different times. Client A shot client B. Shot them. When you're like, I like this client. Oh, I like this dude too. What do you do when they shoot each other?
Dang.
How are you supposed to feel when you can't book so-and-so at 3 and so-and-so at 4 because they'll fight or shoot each other in the yard?
Wow.
What do you do? And so eventually I got tired of it. And like and I really do feel like, and I say this with my soul, and recently I've been experimenting with music, and I've kind of been able to kind of find the shit that I originally had. Yeah. And I like that. It's been fun. It's been like kind of reigniting what started me to do it. But man, I ain't gonna lie, they took the fun out of that shit. They sucked the passion out of that shit.
I could see how that would happen when you break it down and explain it like that, man. Good God. So yeah, I could see how you could get burned out of it. Man, one thing, I follow you on Facebook and stuff like that. But one thing I wanted to get into real quick, I heard you say earlier, the family business. Yeah. So Teel's
construction, yeah. So we do septic.
That's right. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it, man. I'm the shit. Man. I'm the shitter man, brother.
Yeah, I heard you say that, man.
I am the
septic.
Yes, so my grandpa started in the 1950s. So this business is 70 years old, almost 80 years old now. My grandpa he bought a shit truck back in like the 50s, and he was putting in concrete tanks with like clay piping. There wasn't even PVC pipe and shit yet. And, a lot of my life, and I can be super thankful, a lot of my life, obviously I've had struggles. I've had a lot of difficulties, a lot of trials and stuff. But one thing that I can say and that I don't want to overlook is that some of the risks my grandpa took have definitely helped me, for sure. There's no way I can ignore that. And I think it would be fake to play like that didn't affect what, has gone on in my life. he took some risks in the 50s that have changed my life, changed my dad's life, changed our family's life, you know. And it's not like it isn't just like this booming company that's like huge like some of these other deals, but like it has sustained our family for generations, and that's something to be said. So the initial risk of him doing that when all three of he had three other brothers, they all went to World War II. And one of my oldest uncles, great uncles, Uncle James, was a Japanese war prisoner, and he was put in a war camp. And when he came home, he was 80 pounds. He left, he was 150 pounds. He came home, he was 80 pounds. And so they got drafted. They have a choice, and so they went to World War II. And my grandpa was the only one that stayed. And he just decided, I don't want to work at I don't want to just work at a factory here in town or do something like that. He decided to take a risk, and it is a dirty job.
For sure.
It's a dirty job for sure, but it's like something about dirty jobs is like there's like this job security that no one talks about. Like nobody really thinks about the fact that if I'll stick my hand in this shit right now, that means my family will be straight, because not many other men will do that. How many other men are going to stick their hand in somebody else's feces? Like it's nasty.
That's a great point, because some of the nastiest jobs are some of the most economic, lasting jobs, like waste. Every single place, every house, every business has trash.
Yep.
But nobody wants to deal with the trash, but somebody has to.
Yeah.
So when you choose to do that, and not only that, every single house and every business has waste.
Yeah.
Like,
and who's gonna deal with it?
Exactly.
Most people don't want no part of that. I'm talking about. I'll tell what I do to some of the toughest people I know, and they'll be like, "No, I can never do it."
What's some of the worst?
Oh, dude. Oh, you want stories? You want stories?
What's one of the worst you've seen?
Oh, I got you, bro. I can do this all day, but I'll give you the best one.
Yeah.
I go to pump this lady's septic tank, right? We have a big old pump truck. It's got a vacuum in it. We pump tanks out. I pull up. This lady's lid had broken. It was an old lady, old sweet lady. And she was like, yeah, my lid broke in about a week ago. I just need to get it pumped out. I'm going to put a new lid on it. I was like, okay, sounds good. So I pull the truck up, pull the hoses out, get in there, get the pumping on it. And just random, because old ladies, they'll tell you everything. That is kind of hilarious. Like if you go to people's house and work, a lot of these, especially old ladies, they will tell you their business. Just in passing, she tells me, she's like, yeah, I ain't seen my cat in a while. And I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. Whatever. Just kept going. So I'm pumping. And finally I hit, something keeps stopping me up. I'm like, what is this? And every time I try to pull it up, I lose suction. So finally I get a good little grab on it, just pow, and I pull it up. It's heavy, you know what I mean? I'm like, what is this? I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this a I thought it was like a carpet. I'm like, how did they get a carpet into the deal? I finally lift it up and lift it out, and in front of this grandma, I pull her cat out. Her cat had fell into the septic tank and died. And I had sucked it up and pulled it out right in front of her. I had to look this lady in the eyes. And for me, I like dark humor. I do like it. And so in my head, I was like, dude, it's kind of funny. But, because I'm kind of desensitized to all this stuff. Like, I find all kind of crazy stuff.
How does a cat get in the septic?
The lid broke. So, yeah, that's why she called me, because her lid had fell in.
Oh,
so the cat was just do.
Fell in.
Yep. And that was the last swimming trip it ever took.
Wow. Dang. Wow, that's crazy. I remember my dad, one time we was at I was at his house, and his had got stopped up, and he was out there digging it out and stuff, and I was like, and I finally got to look at it, and I'm like, why are these things in the ground? Like, the importance of these things. Like, there's so many things that go on people don't even realize. Like,
yeah, that's the thing about it, and that's what I experience every day. I experience the fact that most people don't think about their septic tank until they can't flush.
Dang.
And when they can't flush, it's a big problem. That's when they're like, hey, come fix it right now.
What are some of the common problems, though, when it comes to septic? What does it stop up?
Yeah. So, like, if your inlet line, so there's a line that comes from your house to the tank. If it stops up, like people flush. I mean, I'll say I know I don't want to get into like my job just like the whole time, but like people flush things that they shouldn't flush. Wipes, toilet paper doesn't.
I heard those flushable wipes.
No, don't do it.
Flushable.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Wow.
Don't do it. Don't flush a flushable wipe. That's a myth. There's no such thing as a flushable wipe. Even toilet paper doesn't really break down. It's mainly what I see. When I open up most septic tanks that are bad, it's full of toilet paper.
Dang.
And even if you look on the bag of toilet paper, it says biodegradable and all that shit. It's like, that's cool to write on the package, but I actually look in there. What gets me is the crazy stuff I find in there, and I try not to be too nasty, but because like the problem with me is I'm really desensitized to it. So like this does not affect me at all.
Yeah.
But people listen and be like, "Oh my God, that's so gross." There was this one time. I'll tell one more story.
Yeah.
I go to this house with this lady. She's like in her 40s. And I pop open the lid, and the tank is full of condoms.
What?
And they had got the tank pumped like 3 years prior, and they already had kids, and they was done having kids. She had got fixed already, so they have a 16-year-old son, and so the lady automatically knew, okay, this is either my 16-year-old son is flushing condoms, or my husband is flushing condoms.
Wow.
And so at that point, she knew like somebody is fucking up here.
Dang, that's crazy.
And I have to sit there and just like I'm realizing like the implications of what's happening. And I'm just like, yep, I'm gonna just do my job. I'm just get out of here.
That is crazy.
Yeah, because the husband walked up at the end and she started he blamed it on the kid. He was like, oh, it must be our son. It must be our son. We got to talk to him. But in my head, I'm like, it could go either way.
Yeah, it could have been either way. Man, that's crazy. So fast forwarding a little bit, you got to doing your podcasting and stuff. What you said in 2020?
I tried it in 2021 and quit.
2021 and quit.
Didn't start again until 2024. 2023 in December.
So how's everything been going? It was going good.
It's fine. It's good.
And then what happened, man?
Well, as far as like you talking about the flood?
Yeah, you had a recent situation.
Yeah. So I'll say this: I did that year, and I don't want to brag on myself, but I went hard that year from December 23 to all the way to exactly when the flood happened. That year between 24 and 25. I did over 110 episodes. I did 110 episodes, podcast episodes. So it became like a part of my life where it's like I'm going to talk to somebody probably once or twice. I'm going to talk to people once or twice for over an hour a week.
Yeah.
And these are all on YouTube. There's hundreds of hours of me on YouTube just talking. Dang. Just having a good time, just learning about stuff. And like when you came on my show, I was telling you, it kind of became like a quest.
Yeah.
Like, how can I figure out, about the world?
Yeah.
And each person brings in their own little piece of the puzzle. And so, like, if you talk to 100 people, you get 100 pieces of that puzzle you didn't know that was out there.
Yeah.
And so, man, I just was getting the guess, and I would get people that believed this, and I would get people I knew they believed this, and people that come from this background and this background. I was like, damn, I'm learning so much, and it's so cool. Everything's flowing and going. I'm figuring out social media, and I started blowing up on a couple different ones, and that's cool. And then, at the spot I'm at, it decides to rain. And not only did it rain, it just never stopped. So like once it started, it just didn't stop raining. And what's crazy is the night before, luckily the night before that I heard it was flooding, I said, let me be careful. And I drove up there the night before and I put my chairs, I just paid my chairs off. And people don't understand, like, I bought these chairs from Ashley. This was a big deal for me to go get these chairs for the studio. Like I went and bought, so I put them up high. I just set them up on top of the couches. And they were like this close to getting wet.
Dang.
And they didn't get wet. And so I put a couple cameras up high. I unplugged my big main computer and put it up, I thought, high enough.
Wow.
So I went and prepared the night before. It didn't matter. Some of the things I did save. So like that is good. Like I went that night before and I did save a couple things. But there's other things that just got mollywopped. I don't even know how else to say. Because there was at least this much water. There was this much water in the house. It was almost 3 foot high.
Wow.
And so, there's a creek behind that place, and it flooded. Then the overflow flooded. Then the overflow flooded. And, you know, and what's crazy is if you go to my Facebook, Joseph Teel on Facebook, go look me up. If you go to my Reels, you can watch this rescue mission that we did, dude. Yeah. We had to save our diesel tank. So I have a diesel tank. You know, it's cheaper to go buy, because all our work trucks are diesel. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we'll just go buy 700 gallons of diesel at once because we're going to be able to use that in all the trucks to stop going to the gas station. You're going to pay for it anyway. Yeah. Go get it all at once. I show up that day and everything's flooded and I'm looking around, I'm like, something is different here. I finally realized it after I realized my computer and shit was destroyed. I walked out and I stood on the steps and the water was right at the steps because it had went down. Yeah. So it was 3 foot high. When I showed up that morning, the water wasn't all the way in the house. So I was like, okay, maybe I got lucky. But no, the worst part had already hit in the middle of the night. So then I walk outside and I realize it. I'm like, oh my God, where's the diesel tank?
Dang.
Dude, it had floated up and took off into the woods.
Wow.
And so I'm in like almost chest deep water and I'm just looking around this property. I'm trying to find my diesel tank that has like 400 gallons of diesel fuel in it. You could do a little math and realize the panic. Yeah. And so I finally see it. It's way back in the back in a place where there's, like I said, there's the creek. There's the overflow, then there's the overflow of the overflow. Yeah. It got caught in the overflow of the overflow. And so I sent my cousin out there. He had to swim to this thing. The water was high. He swam to it with a rope. I called my buddy. See, this is where podcasting comes in. Yeah. And I had an arborist come on my show, right? A dude that does professional tree work and is a tree climber. He goes to competitions and tree climbs. Wow. So he knows how to do all this shit. He shows up with ropes and pulleys and all type of shit. And I'm like, damn, this is crazy. So he pulls up and we send my cousin out there. He swims to the thing and ties a rope to it. And then we start tying ropes around trees and hooking them together. And then we tie them to this big, humongous tree that we have. And they have like a pulley system. Oh. And he just started ratcheting it in. And we saved it. But and luckily it was airtight. So like nothing got in. So we didn't lose all the diesel fuel. But I mean, that day was crazy, man. Like I'm telling you, from 8 a.m. to I think it was almost 4:30 p.m. that day, I was in at least waist deep water. Dang. Just trying to save our shit. And we had so much stuff that's gone in the woods. We just never see that again. It's just equipment. There's pipes. There's probably a pipe of mine that's 3 counties over by now, dude. Dang. and I don't know. It just hit on so many different levels. And like I was telling you the other day, man, in that moment, you can make a decision, right? You could say, oh, my God, this is so terrible. This is life beating me up. I should just quit. This is a sign. This is a sign. Quit, dude. Yeah. Like, things are obviously not working for you. Go do something else. Go get a real job. Go do something else. Right. But I don't know. Something in my head was just like, this is just another hurdle, dude. We jumped that. We'll be back in action. And I don't know. That mentality has really helped me. It's absolutely saved me.
I've been watching, and I'm like, when I saw you, I was like, you was talking about the situation, everything got flooded, and I was like, dang, man. Because I'm thinking from a podcast owner myself, from that perspective, I'm thinking, man, this stuff is expensive.
It is.
And this stuff is expensive. And so I'm thinking, man, he lost stuff. I can only imagine how much money like that has been took in to get this stuff going, because podcasting and creating content, this can get very expensive, man.
Man, so like, and the way I live my life is that as somebody that works outside and has a business, I know that in the summer, like, I'm going to rake it in.
Yeah.
And then my job is really affected by the weather.
Yeah.
And so I know that in the wintertime, I'm going to be in a bind if I don't spend my money correctly.
Yeah.
And so that has been another thing that saved me, is that, going through this winter, I had thought about that. You go through a couple winters, like the first winter I ever went through and I ran out of money. And I was like, oh my God, what do you mean you just run out of money every winter? This is crazy. You know what I mean? So that next year I was like, hey, let's not, just because you got the money on hand, that don't mean we just go blow it. So I learned that valuable lesson. And so when everything went down, luckily I wasn't just caught with my pants down completely, and was able to get a couple things to get me back running. Like I said, I love trading with people. I have a lot of good relationships with people. I try really hard because that's what a lot of people don't think about this. They like in the moment, you can kind of decide to build relationships that can, they can save your life. You don't think about it at the moment.
Yeah.
And so like this relationship with like Bruce, shout out to Bruce Aaron, my boy. This is literally the second time he saved me.
Yeah.
And so those relationships matter, and you can't, and like Bruce is a guy in town that does exactly what I used to do. So me and him would have been in, if most people would have considered us to be in direct competition. But instead of being assholes to each other, we decided to get along. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we just decided to, hey, you need anything, I'll teach you, you teach me. We were sharing equipment, borrowing gear, and that, just having that relationship, just not being an asshole, because most people fall under the idea, they say, well, if me and this dude are doing the same thing, then we're in competition with each other. Yeah. And that doesn't have to be the case. Yeah. Right? Because like that, even like me and you, we're interviewing people. Yeah. I could look at you and be like, this dude's trying to do what I'm doing. Yeah. And we could get salty about it. Right. Or you could say, dude, this dude's doing exactly what I'm doing. Imagine what he knows and what I know. What if we put that together? Exactly. Because, see, this is the thing. We both have been on different journeys in our life. Right. And you know people I don't know, and I know people you don't know. Right. And, man, I've always said this. There's something interesting about everybody in the world. And as a matter of fact, there's something about them that you like. But you haven't given the opportunity to know that yet. Right. A lot of times people just be like, some people just hate it because, like, no, there's something that is very valuable there if you take the time to really look into it, and it's something that can help you both. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing, man. That competition shit, that's for the birds, man. We could build an alliance, man. That's what I was saying. I used to watch Survivor growing up. You got to build an alliance, man. That's one of the key thing that I like, and I'm glad you came, because we both are podcasters. But coming together, you know what I'm saying, and like talking about different things and experiences, it's like really, you never know where this goes. And that's one thing I rarely see. You don't really see the podcast guy. Like, the podcast guy is always out in the field, but podcasts don't really interview podcasts. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Because they're always interviewing other people. Other people, yeah. They don't actually interview the people that are in it, because they have a story too. Yeah, and I'm gonna be excited for people to watch this, because they'll get to hear my side of stuff. Because a lot of times I'm just like, hey, if the guest is talking, that means I'm doing my job. Exactly. And so I get excited when a guest talks the whole time. Yeah. And all I do is ask questions, and I sit back and I'm like, that's what I've been doing with you, man. Yeah, and they talk, and you're like, awesome, dude. That means I'm killing it. Yeah. That means I'm asking good questions, and they're doing their thing, and this is great. Yeah, for sure. And in that, your own story can get lost a little bit, because it's like, you're just the guy figuring out about other people. Yeah. And so, I mean, when you join forces, you go to different shows, they could be like, okay, well, I want to know about Joe. Yeah. And this will be a cool experience. Yeah. I want to know about Joe. Because you know what? When I first started my podcast, you were one of the first ones that was reaching out. I was like, hey, man, it's good that you're doing it, man. Like, yeah, I was excited to see it. Yeah, because you was like, man, it's good to know that somebody else is doing it. And I'm like, but this is the crazy part, though. I've always heard of you. I just didn't like, because a lot of people, because we basically have a similar story. Yeah. But people that were coming and getting beats from me, they were like, man, I record with the white dude. You know how they talk. Oh, yeah, I'm with the white dude. Yeah, I record with the white dude in L.E., and I'm like, who is that? So I didn't know, but they kept saying. And I was like, who is that? So finally I was like, oh, that's okay, so this is the guy. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, man, so it's just interesting how life goes, man. Yeah, I can't stress this enough. It's just fun to say it because I'm not really in the recording business anymore. Yeah. It's literally funny how I shook the game up. I mean, it's just fun to say later because, like, if I used to say stuff like that, it would really, people would get upset with me and there would be backlash. But it's like, at this point, I don't really do it anymore, so I don't care. Well, I do know this based up on just knowing out there, there's many people that has brought you up Yeah.
When I've dealt with artists, whether if it was beats or recording, there are a lot of people that have brought you up. I just didn't know who they were talking about.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
white guy in
if I had
LE.
$1 for every time I got called the white dude from LE, I would have a pocket full, man.
Yeah. So what are your plans on going forward, man? This is 2025. What do you plan on doing going forward, man?
Man, I don't know. I'm looking for bigger guests, obviously, and that's just like, you know, people know me from interviewing people here in town, and that's cool. But I do have bigger goals. Not that this isn't important. I really do enjoy this, and I've been able to, you know, just like you're doing, shed light on things and highlight people from around here, and I think that's incredibly important. And, you know, even if I were to start getting to, maybe, let's say we get to a new level, I hope I don't stop. You know what I mean? I hope I don't stop highlighting what's happening here, because that is a powerful tool. But no, bigger stuff. You know what I mean? And I kind of I really want to establish my lane as, you know, I kind of want to have, you know, I don't never want the conversations to be like just too crazy serious. But I would like to find different type of people, you know, scientists, Navy SEALs, you know, people with crazy stories, and, you know, kind of take the Joe Rogan route more. You know, I'm not necessarily don't want to just be Joe Rogan. But you know what I mean. But like, let me talk to an astrophysicist. Let me talk to an ex-CIA person. Let me talk to a Navy SEAL. Let me talk to people like that. You know, there's, you know, maybe even politicians one day. You know, it would be awesome to interview a presidential candidate. You know, and that was a big thing in the last one. Podcast was blowing up. They would get, you know. Trump went on a couple of them, and that was crazy that he was just sitting in these podcasts with just regular dudes that have a show. You know what I mean? And that's how the world was shifting, and I kind of hope that I can maneuver myself and put myself in that type of situation.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Even with podcasting, once you start reaching so many people, that's really like, that's going to be a whole nother way of advertising.
Yes.
You know, like for campaigning, which that's a great point. For campaigning, like this is the best way to reach a big audience.
Yeah, because you got to think there's so many people our age that aren't watching the news.
Exactly.
And so they realize, like, okay, and I don't want to get political. I don't want to say where I'm at or none of that shit. I'm just going to make an observation and tell you that I think that it played a major role in how things turned out, because one of the candidates did just go sit with people. And hate them, love them, it don't make a damn to me, because that's not what I'm here to say. I'm just making the point that it did have an effect, because one person went and talked to a whole different crowd.
Yeah.
And there's dudes, especially dudes. I think it is guys a lot. Guys are getting their information from podcasts, like for better or worse.
Cool.
And that's a whole different argument. But like, I don't want to get into the argument. I just want to make the assessment that people are getting their news from different ways. So if you ignore that completely, you miss entire group of people that are just getting all their information from podcasts and YouTube videos.
What's your most viewed video that you've put
like
out?
A short or like an actual video?
Like out of all videos, shorts, anything you put out, which one has like the most views?
I have one that has 2 million, over 2 million. It's like 2.4, I believe now. And it was talking about, I had a tattoo artist in that just likes to go down conspiracy rabbit holes, and so me and her were talking, and she was talking about something called cryogenics, which is basically they're freezing people right as they're about to die, and they basically freeze them, and they're hoping to bring them back later. They're hoping that they can freeze them in a way that technology will advance, and in the future they could be able to bring them back to life.
Like the Demolition Man. Have you seen that movie before?
No, but people have mentioned that in the comments of this. Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone plays in there, and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
And they basically did that in there. They froze them at an older time, and they brought them back when like it was computers and they didn't even know how to function.
Yeah. And so it was like a 55-second clip, and it was just her talking about it. And, you know, the way of the internet is, a lot of the shit was negative that was said. You know what I mean? I would say this, I've been viral more than 10 times now.
Yeah.
And every single time I've went viral, the comments are almost always negative. And that's just something that you have to prepare for. Like, because if the more eyes you put on that, the more people are going to be like, look at these idiots. this is dumb. I can't believe they're talking about this. Meanwhile, while they're calling you an idiot, you're going viral. And like, it's literally getting seen by millions of people, and they're calling you an idiot, but they don't understand that, like, for you, it doesn't matter how many comments there are that say you're an idiot. Like, we literally just did what we were supposed to do.
You brought up an excellent point. And in creating content, I had to realize this too. Even if people speak negative, it's still good, because it's like you're getting feedback and you're getting credit for what they say. So it's like you have to realize, like, you can't, like, wrap everything up in your feelings and get personal. You have to prepare yourself, like, for people to be like, to say whatever.
Right? It's been interesting. I'll tell you this. Like I was telling you when you came on my show, I created this guy. I've created like this alter ego for Facebook or for the internet, and it has worked. It's hilarious. It's really, like, it's comical. It's that funny that it's just, I can't believe this works.
Yeah.
It's literally like, you know, because I have kind of like a country upbringing.
Yeah.
So all I do, literally, I'll do it for the camera right now. Look, I turn my hat sideways like this, dude. Yeah. And I just start talking a little crazier, and hey, get into it. Hey, come on now. They tell you a story, get into it. Dude. The last thing I went viral on was that. It's a character I created called Ronnie. It's just, I just take like these little experiences I had and just like take them too far. Yeah. Basically like hyperbole, just build them up. Like, so I had an uncle one time, and him and his wife got into it about cigarettes. His wife wanted a cigarette, and he had a whole pack of cigarettes. She ran out. He didn't want to share. And I remember as a kid, I was like 7, I watched this, and I was like, damn, that's actually hilarious. Yeah. That they're married, they've been married for 15 years, and he's not going to give her a cigarette, because, like, it's just like in that, I don't know, there's a lot of people that relate to that, but that had, like, kind of country or backgrounds. Right. And so, like, then in this interview, so I set up this whole interview where I had my co-host on my other show interview me as Ronnie. So, like, for an hour, I just talk out of my ass, and I just make things up. Just on the spot, like no planning or nothing. So then I tell the story of how my parents got divorced. And like, no, my parents never got divorced. Yeah. So I literally just made this up on the spot. Yeah. And I just told the story about a mom and dad getting into it, about not sharing cigarettes. And then at the end, he was like, the dad didn't share the cigarettes, but he just got mad, just told her, I've been cheating on you. Right. It's all goofy. It's all made up. It's all fake. Right. And then it goes viral. Then I post the clip. And it takes off. And not only did it do it on Facebook, but everywhere I posted it did better. Like, it did more numbers than anything else I've ever, not that I've ever done, but like on every platform I posted it on, it did better than average.
That's interesting.
And it's hilarious. And then, like, so you think about it, these people coming in, they're giving all these negative comments. Look at this redneck, look at this, damn, look at these R words, look at these idiots, you know what I'm saying? And they don't even realize that that's just like a character. Yeah. I just made that shit up. Like, that's just fun. It's just for funsies. Yeah. And they don't understand that. And so that's how you have to approach even, I say all that to say, that's how you got to approach even what you're doing, even what you mean with your chest. Yeah. Even what you mean in your soul. Even when you're Dieris, or when I'm Joe. I'm not Ronnie, I'm Joe, and I'm really speaking from the heart, and maybe it blows up. I have to realize that these people don't know. They don't know me. They don't know you. That's the whole point of going viral. These are strangers viewing you. They don't understand. And so, like, all of their thoughts about you are off of this 30 to 1 minute clip. They don't understand. They don't know you. They don't know me. Like, they can see me and they'll be like, damn, look at this redneck telling this crazy ass story. They don't know that, like, I do things here in town and I've helped the community and I do all these things. They have no idea that, like, I'm decently well versed in all sorts of different topics, and that I don't actually speak like that. I know how to talk, I know how to write, I know how to read, I know how to do all that stuff, but I come off as this crazy character and it goes viral, and they're making their assumptions off of the clip. They don't know me. They have no idea about me. It's true. Very interesting stuff.
It is.
Because that's, and I say that to say, I know I'm ranting, I'm going on all these rants, who cares? But I say that to say is that is how we are taking in, that's how we are doing strangers. Right. When you sit there and you scroll on Reels, or you watch podcasts, or you watch videos, we think somebody will say something, we'll be like, that's them. We have no idea if that's actually them. That could just be the character. That could just be what they're creating at that moment.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because most of the time you're gonna get the most views on the most negative stuff.
Oh, every time.
Even if it's not real, it's all about what it looks like. If it looks like it's real, oh man, that right there is gonna rack up a bunch of views because people gonna be like, man, what did you see that? Look at this, So things kind of go like that, man. But yeah.
It's a dangerous balance because you're like, okay, let's say me for instance. Something kind of sort of like as a pretty positive person that spends more than often, I am pushing positive things.
Yeah.
Like I'm big on community. I'm big on people getting out of the drug game, getting out of like killing each other. All that shit I had experienced with the rap stuff, I realized like, hey, I'm a big proponent of like, let's get our shit together. I'm big on fatherhood. I'm big on all these things. And like, those are the things I'm pushing, but they don't know that. They don't know that. All they see is that one clip where I might say something stupid, and that's what they're judging. They don't know any of the other stuff I'm pushing. Even so, like the negative stuff blows up. The danger, to bring it back to what I was saying, the danger is, okay, we're seeing a pattern here. Negative blows up. Negative blows up. The temptation is to start intentionally making negative shit to blow up, right?
Yeah.
And why do you think everything is negative that you see on the reels, on the TikToks? A lot of stuff is negative because it's a formula. And once people figure out the formula, if you don't fight the temptation, you'll just say, hey, I'm going to make what works. And you don't think about the people that are taking in this information and what that's doing to them.
I'm not gonna lie, you are absolutely right. Because I was thinking like, man, you know what? I talk all this positive stuff and uplifting. I was like, man, I should just cuss somebody out. That
is the temptation because it will work.
Because I'm like, man, I'm getting 2-3 likes. Like, what if I just bash somebody with a beer bottle?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To blow
like,
up? Think about some of the lives here in town. The lives that blow up. There'll be these people go on lives, the ones that want to fight and do this. So-and-so's calling so-and-so out. I'll get on the lives. There's 3,000 people watching this live.
3,000.
Like, what do you mean there's 3,000 people watching this live? I just said, hey, everybody get your life together. Let's do something positive and everybody be good and love each other. And there's nobody on the live. But if somebody says, hey, this bitch is lying to me. Meet me at the wherever. We're going to handle this shit. 3,000 people. That's what I'm saying. The temptation is great, but I do believe this in my soul. I feel like all this content shit is the long game. You have to play the long game, right? Yeah. If you're positive for a long time, and what happens is over time, it's just like interest. It's just like investing and stuff. You start getting compound results, right? Let's say you change 2 lives in the beginning, and that doesn't seem like shit because you're only getting 2 likes. Yeah. Let's say those 2 lives are actually affected. After a while, 2 turns into 4, 4 turns into 8, 8 turns into 16, 16 turns into 32, and so on and so forth. Yeah. If you show up every day on some positive shit, eventually, you're going to be helping a lot of people. Yeah. And so, like, that's how you have to figure out your character. You have to figure out because I even mean that in the 2 different versions of that. You literally have a character that you're playing on the internet, and there's also, like, your character, like, who you are. Yeah. And so there comes a point when you're making content where you have to decide, who am I and what do I stand for? And I think that you can make a good decision that doesn't go fast. Yeah. Right? Because you could say today, I'm going to go post some bullshit on the internet, and they're going to love that shit. They're going to eat it up. Yeah. But how long will they do it? How long are you too messy? How long? I mean, this happens to content creators all the time. They get too messy, and it all backfires on them. And before long, scandal hits or something, nobody's going to watch them anymore because you're the dude that did this. Yeah. That's true. That's very true. I think it starts in the beginning. Like, even me right now, let's say, okay, I've had a little bit of success. It's cool. I wouldn't by any means say that, like, I'm popping off or, like, people need to get out the way. I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No means saying that. Yeah. I have seen glimpses of success, and I have to make a decision right now. Right. Are we going to do good with this, or are we going to be out here on some foolery? Yeah, exactly. Because foolery will pay me quicker. Yeah. But I do think there is a long-term benefit of just being a good person, and it seems to keep paying off for me. Yeah. And dude, there's something, and I know I'm ranting, I'm sorry. No, but there's a saying that really bothers me, and it's like the nice guys finish last, or it never works out for the good guys. Bullshit. That's what people say when they've been nice for a little bit and shit doesn't immediately work for them. That's bullshit, bro. I say that with my chest. Nice guys finish last, all that bullshit. That's bullshit. If you do good long enough, people have no choice but to accept that you're a good dude and that you're out here doing good shit. What do you think about that?
I agree.
Yeah. I think it's
and not only that, when it comes to that, it's like there's a certain level of dignity about you. So it's like, okay, integrity, and then it's like, okay, you did this, you did that. So it's like, now we know you'll stand on something, or, and this was something that was needed the whole time. But it takes a little bit. It's almost like we do in life growing up. It's like, oh, you want to do all that other stuff, and then later on, after life done, when you're dealing with negativity, it's going to whip you.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. You're going to get bumps and bruises, and then later on, you'll be like, you know what? You was right the whole time. Like, if somebody always told you right and you ignored it and you went on through life and doing whatever you wanted to do, later on in life, when you finally come to them, you be like, you know what? You respect them more because it's like,
right.
They told you all that time, but now that they're still that way, it's you develop more respect for them. So it's kind of like what you're saying in the end game.
Yeah, I think respect is one of the things that's been kind of lost in this generation, in the generation of content creation, the generation of virality, and it's all about blowing up. It's all about this, and at some point you have to think about like there is a self-respect aspect, like not even just self-respect, but also like it is. For some people, blowing up is more important than having the respect of people. And for me, it's like, I want you to still respect me. And like, even that even puts boundaries on what I do. Cause it's like, I'm not scared to like make jokes. I'm not scared to cross lines or things of that nature. But at the same time, it's like, there are lines I don't want to cross because I don't want to lose respect to people because I value respect.
Yeah.
Right. If you respect me and I respect you as men, it doesn't get much better than that. Like when you look another man in the eye and both of you respect each other, it's different.
Yeah.
If we look at each other and we don't have respect for each other as men, that's not the play. That is the recipe for disaster. Like if I look at you, I want you to respect me, and it is absolutely important to me that I behave and that I act and that I do things in a manner that you kind of just have to be a hating ass motherfucker to not like me, and I think that is important.
Right.
Because there are people that don't like me, and that just means you went out of your way to not like me because I try to behave in a way that demands respect because I'm always going to give respect.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think respect is a lost art. And people have lost it for views, for virality, for fame, for whatever, the hopes of fame. That's the thing, the hopes of going viral, the hopes of getting famous, the hopes of your show blowing up. It's almost as strong as the actual thing, right? It's just like people have done crazy things for money in life. It isn't the money that's evil. It's that changes you. The money itself didn't change you. It was the hope. It was the hope that you would receive money for doing whatever messed up action you did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they say, like even in the Bible, to quote the Bible, they say it isn't that people say money is the root of all evil. That's false. The love of money is the root of all evil. Yes. So when you start loving it, the hope of it. Yeah, exactly. That's bad. That's when you start doing crazy shit because you're like, I'll do this and I'll get this. And then you start losing your respect and your self-respect. And I think that and I really mean this for myself, I think we're in a generation, like the generation below us, I think they may not be getting taught like even self-respect.
Hey.
And I don't think, and we talked extensively on this on my show when you came on. We talked about how music is affecting that, and I just in my soul seeing it firsthand to bring it all back together.
Yeah.
I do not think music is helping the average young man gain self-respect. I don't believe that's happening. Trap music, all that shit is not helping. And like, look, obviously, I'm a white dude, right? We said it. It's a white guy from Libya. Obviously, I don't understand. I can't fully understand, right? But I can see what I saw.
Yeah.
And nobody can take that from me, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm out of place. Maybe I'm speaking maybe I may get too far when I speak on it. And maybe that's wrong. And there will be pushback for somebody. But it's like, I saw people, and like I explained to you, I even told the story of the guy that I watched literally throw his life away to become a rapper, a local rapper. That, you know what I mean? But like, it was the hope of something else that pushed him to kill another human.
Dang.
And it's like, so maybe I'm out of my lane and I'll accept that. But at the same time, it's like, I do feel like it's important to say that we kind of lost. I think that the generation below us may not have the same self-respect that we have. Because like I said, I don't want to keep rambling, but when I look at you, I say, I hope he looks at me and respects me.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that that's been passed along. What do you think?
I think that you're absolutely right. Because people are so much in competition, there is no respect. It's like, oh, I'm going to get this, and I'll do whatever it takes, even if that means wiping you out.
Yeah.
For, like, literally nothing, really, in the long run. Like, you didn't really gain really nothing.
Right.
And you lose respect thinking that the way to have respect is to
catch a body or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Like, and even something that's different too. Also, is that we used to fight, and you know, and like I said, I don't want to be out of place. I don't want to speak out of turn. No. I know there's things I can't understand being white. I understand that. There was classes where I would be the only white dude in class. My friends, even to this day, primarily, they're not white. Yeah. But I don't, and I'm not using that excuse, but I'm just saying, I would say I'm blessed enough to see into other cultures where a lot of other dudes haven't. And like when we was young, we would fight.
Yeah.
We would, and I'm not even condoning fighting, but I would put fighting above shooting every single time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like duking it out and being cool afterwards. Dude, I've been in some fucking knockdown dragouts where I shook the guy's hand afterwards.
Dang.
You don't shake people's hand after you shoot them. Like, and that's a big point. Like, if me and you meet up to fight and you shoot me and I survive, I will hate you forever. I will hate you. I hate your mom, your dad. I hate your grandparents. I hate your kids. And I hate your kids if I live that long. Yeah. If you shoot me, that is it, brother. That is fucking a wrap. Right. If we fight, I can look you in the eye and be like, damn, we handled it. Yeah. And I think that's a man thing. But, like, this generation, they don't even fight.
Dang.
I would rather see people fight. Any day of the week, I'd rather see people fight than shoot. Yeah. Because there's, like, a finality to shooting that is just like, that's a wrap. Like, once you shoot somebody, you have ruined your life. If you punch somebody, you might still ruin your life, but the chances are lower. So I would rather see people just duke it out. Like I said, not condoning violence. But anyways, I think that is a mentality shift that's happened over time where we just beat the fuck out of each other and was like, okay, I feel like this has worked itself out. Yeah. And that doesn't happen now. And even the music doesn't promote it. Like, you hear these songs, like, I'm not, like, the songs will say, like, I'm not going to square up, I got this gun. Like, in different words, you know what I mean? But basically, the songs, like, listen to new music. I'm not going to fight you, I'm going to shoot your ass. That is the lyrics. Yeah. That is what the young people are hearing.
That's true.
And people, I genuinely think this in my soul, people don't want to get their ass whooped. And I didn't think I would take this route tonight, but here we are. People don't want to get their ass whooped. They don't want an old school ass whooping. I got beat up before, right? Yeah. And it made me better. I've showed up. One time I showed up to a trailer park. I get this dude, I was supposed to fight this guy. He gets out the truck, and he's in shorts and cowboy boots. He has a beer. He chugs a beer and cracks it on his head. I knew I was fucked. Dang. This dude was like 6'5", and he was clearly bigger than me, and I was skinny in high school, dude. I was like $150 maybe. Yeah. He gets out of the truck and smashes a beer can on his head. I'm like, yeah, I'm in trouble. But like, I didn't think I was going to get shot. Yeah. I knew that I might just get my ass whooped. Yeah. And that's okay. It's okay to get your ass whooped. Yeah. I agree. I know that's stupid. I really do think there's an underlying message, though. Yeah. Like, our generation just got beat the fuck up, and we went about our day. That's not what happens now. Like, you might literally die if you show up to a fight.
For sure.
And that's not cool. And I think, but it all goes back to respect. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you don't respect the other person's life neither.
Right.
It's one thing to punch somebody. It's another thing to shoot somebody. Yeah. And like if you don't have respect for, and I will say that I think the music, and I know I don't want to harp on this too long.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I got out of the music business. Also, is because I think that the music that's being promoted to these kids that are susceptible to that stuff is saying that life isn't worth much.
Yeah.
That's the message that's preached. Like, if the song is promoting violence, let's just say that. Let's just say the song is promoting violence, right?
Yeah.
That is saying that it's okay to take another life, or that other, what that really means is that other life doesn't matter.
Right.
And when you grow up and you feel like other people's life, like, first of all, if you feel like your own life doesn't matter, you damn sure don't care about another life. And I think we're seeing the effect of that.
Yeah.
I think that music has played a big part into that, where we don't, like, I say we, like, they don't respect the other person. They don't respect their own life. Yeah. And in turn, that means that they don't respect the other person's life. So it ain't shit. You want to fight me? I'm not going to let you punch me. I'm going to shoot your ass. Yes, not the rant I thought I'd have tonight, but there you have it.
No, that's cool. That's right. You're absolutely right. So where can people find you?
Yeah. I'm on so on Facebook, that's where I'm really at right now for sure. Joseph Teel. I had the check mark. Don't go to the other ones, they're fake.
Yeah.
Joseph Teel on Facebook, the Joe Teel podcast on YouTube, and also on Instagram, Joe Teel 180, TikTok, Joe Teel 180 also. Patreon, Joe Teel, go to the Patreon, you see all the extra stuff. Before I go out, I want to go back a little bit. Is that okay? If we're running low on time, just let me know. Like growing up, it was, I don't know. What I really want to say to people is that you've got to go through these bad things. And that's kind of the last message I want to put out there is like the bad things that happen to you are important. And we talked about the flood, and we talked about all that stuff and how you react to that. Even talked about music. We talked about all the things, all the bad things that are out there. But there's something about getting broke down. There's something about hurt and pain that has this reaction that can go either way. And when I say that, I mean that either way, you can either be crushed by the weight of the world, or you can get bigger muscles and lift it up. You know what I mean? So, like, you can either imagine, you've seen the statues of the strong man holding up the earth, like the little Atlas ones, right? You can either let the weight of the world make you so strong that you hold that shit up, and you're like a bad motherfucker, and you just get through anything, or that same weight can crush you. And I think that is a choice. And, you know, and one major thing that happened to me, like, I lost my mom when I was 17, and she died. And, you know, and there was another guy in my class, and his mom, he lost his mom too. And I remember our reactions being completely different because he self-destructed. And that was a turning point for me. You know, and I think about this all the time, and I go check in on this guy, and he's like in jail, and he's out of jail, and he's in jail, he's out of jail, and there's drug addiction, and there's all these things, and I see it, and I'm like, damn, it hurts me that me and him reacted differently. And so, you know, I think that we are faced with decisions where we have to, these are make or break decisions in our life. Even when you came on my show, and you were explaining what happened to you, and you lost it all. And in that moment, you had to decide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the weight of the world can crush me or make me. And like, if anybody listening, if I could put out like a positive message today and put out what I really feel in my soul today to tell the people is like, adversity is what is going to make you, you know, and things will not always be sweet. They won't always be good. Shit will not just automatically work out for you. And even if you've lived your whole life and everything seems to have fallen into place, be careful, because that's like a lullaby. You know what I mean? It's setting you up for that big one.
Yeah.
You know, and I've lost so many people, and death has been a big one to me, man. I've lost so many family members, and it just seemed like the circumstances are crazy, and it hurts, and then you deal with grief and all these things, and I've dealt with addiction and so many different things in my life. If I could give anybody encouragement, it's like just stand up during that shit. You know what I mean? Stand up.
For sure.
Because it's so easy. Because what a lot of people don't talk about is that, yes, it is easy to give in when shit gets tough. But they don't talk about that hurts as well. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing about life. And I'll end it with this. I know I've ranted a whole bunch. I love talking. No. But everything in life hurts. Yes. Even the good stuff.
Yes.
Because discipline hurts.
Yes.
Consistency hurts. It's not fun. It's not comfortable. Nobody likes that shit. You wake up at a certain time in the morning. You don't have to, but you do it because you're like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
You edit that video when you're tired. You don't want to edit that video. It sucks. You don't like that shit. But you know that if you do it, it'll be better for you. Yeah. And it sucks. It hurts. But also sitting on your ass and doing absolutely nothing and letting life whoop you hurts.
Yeah.
And in those moments, and that's the thing, like, it hurts so bad. What I'm saying is it feels good in that moment to just be like, I'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're hurting yourself in the future.
Absolutely.
And so that's just my whole message today. And my whole story, I feel like, is, and not that I've done this perfect or anything, because I've definitely failed and I've definitely gone backwards. And like you say, not all progress is not all forward movement is progress and all that shit. But like when you're faced with adversity, that is what's going to determine if you're successful in this life. And if you do not handle it correctly, life will beat the fuck out of you. And it's going to beat the hell out of you when you're doing good. So that is literally my main point. Life's going to whoop your ass when you're doing good. It's going to whip your ass when you're doing bad. So you just need to do good. And that's what I got for you.
I absolutely agree with that. 100%.
Yeah.
That was great, man.
And I want to thank you, dude. Thank you.
No, man,
thank you for coming on my show. Thank you for letting me come on your show. I genuinely, I enjoyed this. I had a great time, dude.
It,
yes, sir, dude.
Yes,
sir, man. I hope I didn't just talk too much, because I will.
No, man, no.
When someone interviews me, I'm like, ooh, the gates are open. Yeah. I'm about to talk.
Yeah, man, that's what I wanted, man. I wanted to hear your story and and just hear some of the different obstacles, some of the things you face, and all that. And I believe this was a great interview, man.
Thank you, man.
I said, Joseph Teel on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
If you look him up, he has the Joe Teel podcast.
Yes, sir.
I have an episode on there. So y'all,
and that should be out soon, because I already got it edited.
Yeah. So
if you want early access, I don't know if this is out. I don't know how fast it gets out. Early access. Go to Joe Teel Patreon. You can watch me and his episode already.
Yep. Joe Teel Patreon. So a lot of people don't even know how to spell stuff. So you have to, what is it? Patron?
EON.
EON.
Yeah.
Patreon.com and look up Joe Teel.
Yes,
you
sir.
can catch exclusive footage from certain episodes that he have. So yeah, make sure you follow him and subscribe to him, because we're both content creators, and this is what we do. We out here, we joining together, man.
Yeah,
we
I love
helping
it.
each other, man. I love it.
Yeah.
So, man, again, man, hey, I appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love the studio. It's beautiful here, dude.
Oh yeah, man.
This is great.
You, man.
Yeah,
hey,
this is awesome.
As you can see, man, I did the same thing, piece by piece, doing little things here and there, trying to put stuff together. And man, hey, I'm looking to go bigger and better. I've had even some big guests on mine.
Yes. The Hustle Cartel shit was cool. I see the others. I'm sorry. I love that, dude.
Yeah, man, for sure. But anyway, y'all stay tuned for more when you look for Joseph Teel. And remember, the DJ Popcorn Podcast Show. You catch me, you stay with me, and I got some more content coming for you, man. Appreciate you for stopping by.
Yes, sir, bro.
Man. Y'all take it easy now.
Come on.